if we all agree that data is really important, we all agree that we got tons of data and we can't keep up with it. We all agree that, most of the times the data initiative or insight doesn't work. And we all agree that we would like to be more democratic with data. Why the heck is no one satisfied with where they are if we're all violently agreeing so much, right? Now, what's the root cause of, the previous 4 quotes? Why is there so much data that people are frustrated with and want to win with? Well, in my opinion, the disconnect is because, as I mentioned earlier, there isn't a single individual team inside the business which is in charge of helping the business win with data. So in a data-driven organization or data democracy, everybody needs to be involved. But in any kind of process, someone has to be in charge, right? And I actually think it points towards that there is no silo in the org chart that is designed to make everybody else win with data. Because there's nothing democratic about that. That's just a much more sophisticated 2022 edition of that center of excellence concept, right? So in thinking about how everyone can win with data, everyone needs to participate. It's one of the biggest problems with digital transformation, right? But in the absence of that kind of deliberate structure, with one team owning data, everyone is in charge of winning with data, but no one owns it. And that's where you start to see some of these significant conflicts, because when you look at the key groups in the business that are involved in data, and I picked 4 key ones, in my opinion, that are the most critical for digital analytics, which is IT, the data teams, the business users, and the executive team. They live in relatively active conflict in a way that I think is probably good for the business, but leads to conflict. So, having been a consultant for, almost 15 years, almost exclusively in digital, where my primary stakeholders are the executive team and marketing, but we do a lot of work with IT and data teams. We see this conflict all the time. I've actually delivered talks over the years. I did one with ObservePoint 4 or so years ago called How to Play Nice in the Sandbox of Marketing and IT. These groups of people do not at all get along. Ironically, marketing, IT, business users, the data folks, the executive team, they all have the same goal. They are all trying to help the business that they're part of win and be more effective and add more value to customers and shareholders and employees. They have the same mission. They just have 4 profoundly different philosophies on how to execute that vision, right? And if we think of the goal of an IT organization, their goal is to save the business money, decrease risk, right? The website cannot go down. The data that is being fed to our marketing initiatives should always be accurate and available. They're all about business continuity, quality of technology services, saving the business money, decreasing risk. On the flip side, if we look at the executive team, who I call the commercialized party, you're starting to see the 4 C's come out here. The executive team is very much focused on making money, growing the value of the business, right? In sometimes direct conflict of what IT wants to accomplish. They're willing to be maybe more early adopters. They're willing to be a little bit more risky, as long as they understand how a particular piece of work or investment will allow them to grow the business. It's their goal to make kind of educated bets on making money, growing the value of the business. Again, kind of the opposite of IT's job. If we go to the other 2 groups, those data people, who I call the control party, are about owning data, right? So anything that we do as an organization will throw off data. That data is our property. We should get our hands on it. We should bring it together. We should make it accurate. We should make it usable. We should make it easy to both report on and leverage for advanced programs like personalization or call center campaigns or what have you. But our data is ours. We should own it. We should control it. That's the internal data team, who operate in direct contrast to the business users or the marketers, who I call the connect party. Similarly to the executive team, they have mandates, they have delivery campaigns and schedules where certain things have to happen at certain times because the executive team told them to. And if they have to get the data from a third-party network cookie, if they need to, leverage an ad tech vendor's data store, as they have timelines to hit. They're out to kind of execute a plan. They're willing to connect data from any available source to just make things happen, right? Both in terms of reporting and in terms of running campaigns. So if we kind of stop and look at these 4 groups, they all have the same goal. They have 4 profoundly different philosophies on how to achieve that goal. And nowhere in this grid is a group that makes everybody play nicely together in the sandbox, right? So we get the create party, the control party, the commercialize party, and the connect party, which is where this whole 4Cs routine comes to play. And very often, I mean, to go back to that previous quote, at least 4 out of 5 times, these 4 groups cannot get along well enough to help a data initiative get off the runway.